Hey, welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott. Here's Dave.
I'm Dave.
And today's review is we're heading back to John Carpenter with The Fog to wrap out our month of Halloween movies. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as we did. But before we get started, there's something that bothered me all day. And I was thinking about it. I know we've made jokes about our name, Old Ass Movie Reviews. And it's like, where does the comma go in? Is it old ass, comma, movie reviews or old ass movie, comma, reviews? Well, listeners, it's both. It's both. We're both old ass movie reviewers and we review old ass movies mixed with others. I don't know where I was going with that, but hey.
I don't know why that's bothered you all day.
It was bothering me. I was thinking about it today and it's like, I'm at work and it's like, that's what I'm thinking about. Huh. Interesting. I thought it was worth talking about.
How did I put a comma in the logo?
There is no comma. It's.
You want to know why? Because fuck commas.
Fuck commas. Even though I am a fan of the Oxford comma, I'm sorry.
Oh, absolutely.
The Oxford comma rocks and it has to be used. Otherwise, you sound like when you read something that somebody wrote without it, it looks like they're a fucking idiot. But go on, millennials, and you're taking away the commas and getting rid of my double space after the period. Fuck you too.
That's because they're too stupid to hit the space bar twice. I don't know what the hell the problem is there.
I'm sorry. I learned on a typewriter.
I think I still do it texting too.
I do. I double space after everything because guess what? When you double space on your phone, it instantly puts, what is it? A period. It knows you went to another sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
Curious. And more curious. Hey, what I wanted to bring up, and I'm sure we could talk a lot about this, but it's been in the news a lot about the movie Rust filming in New Mexico with the cinematographer being killed and the director shot, which things that I read today. For those of you who have been completely under a rock, there's an Alec Baldwin movie filming, I think, in New Mexico or Arizona. I'm not sure. New Mexico, and there was a incident where the cinematographer was killed and the director was shot. I have read so much on this, and I am going to say this before I go any further. A lot of my sources are not confirmed. There are people who say they were crew or worked on it. Take that as you will, but I had even heard that the camera crew walked that morning, resigned over gun safety. And they had said there had been lots of incidents.
Several different places that they basically the crew got up and left because of safety. The cinematographer, the poor lady that was killed, stayed, and so it was all part of a union deal. She stayed, and she was trying to get them. I guess this all happened mostly over safety and rooms. Like they were being told they had to drive an hour out of town and then back.
It was a horrible agreement, especially when you consider how much money can be made on a movie. And you wonder why the union, I forget, it might have been the electrical union or one of them recently was going to strike because of shit like this. You're going to make millions and millions. Put your people in a hotel because you don't have anything without them.
Take care of them.
Take care of them. And it really is like, come on now. The producers know this. They're cutting corners. They're acting like corporate America.
Well, that's just it. And Alec Baldwin being the money man behind this movie, he's done enough movies.
Surely he's carried a gun in a movie.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I despise Alec Baldwin as a human being. I think I'm not even going to go into what I think about him. I just think he's a terrible person.
Well, you don't have to. He's proved it time and time again.
He's done enough movies, or he's done enough movies to where he should have known not to point a gun directly at anybody. I don't give a crap whether they say it's a cap gun. I don't give a crap whether they say it's loaded with blanks. I don't care. Rule number one, you do not aim a gun directly at anybody on set. If you're doing the gun aiming thing, that's going to be a model gun. It's going to be plastic. It's not going to have anything in it. Period. It's freaking a half a pound at most. If you have a real gun, it's always off-centered. You're never aiming directly at somebody. It's always off-centered. That's why sometimes when you watch a movie, you look at somebody and go, you're not even aiming at them. No, you're not. Because you don't want to kill the freaking guy that's 2 feet away from you with a blank or whatever they happen to be shooting. He should have known that. Had he not been so anti-gun, maybe he would have taken a gun course and learned that. I would think that somebody would have told him this. There's a lot of problems with what happened. I think they're going to try and blame it all on the woman
The
that they
armor.
brought in,
Yeah.
young woman that they brought in at the last minute. Honestly, at this point, just from what I've been reading, I don't know if you can blame her for this.
I don't either.
I really
After
don't.
after what I read this afternoon from
It doesn't
a
sound
recent
like
story.
you can.
Let me
I'm sorry,
back
go
up.
ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree exactly with what you're saying, and definitely there is some blame on Baldwin. But
Oh, yeah.
there's so this is one of my pet peeves. I hate, and don't want to make this a political discussion for our listeners.
No, I get it. That's why I wasn't even going to bring this up. I thought about it. I was like, no.
It's movie related. We're going to talk about it.
It is movie related, and yeah.
And I've dealt with a lot of guns in movies, and and I'm not Alec Baldwin, but I think, and that's what I wanted to get at. One of the first things I did was even at a film school. Was an extra in a movie, and we had guns. They were fake guns. However, those guns were under lock and key. They did not come out until the cameras were about to roll, and then they had to be holstered. They could not be unholstered without having to be rechecked by everybody. When you're handed a gun on set, at least in my experience, I understand things are different, but you are allowed a chance to inspect it, make sure the chamber's clear, make sure it's not going to shoot anybody. I've had guns put onto my head. It is nerve-wracking. So you take a look and you make damn sure that what's going on. I hate real guns on a set, period. I really do. I think with the things we can do in post and everything, there's no reason to have a real gun. And people will make the argument, hey, they've been doing movies for hundreds of years. There's really not that many instances. No, there's not, because they're following procedure, but you still don't need to have a real gun.
Safety protocols are covered. That's why there's so few accidents. Then you get a guy who wants to make his movie, sell it to Netflix or whoever.
Yeah.
And he's looking to make a big killing. Pardon the pun. It was not meant that way. Truly, it wasn't. My problem with what's going on with Alec Baldwin is everybody started making fun of him. I mean, I'm one of those guys who I try not to get too ugly. I have done it before, but I try not to get too ugly, especially in something like this, where it's so easy to just attack the guy and then forget that he killed somebody. He killed a wife. He killed a mother.
I know he didn't intend to do that.
And you know what? I honestly feel bad for him, because he didn't mean to.
No.
But what it was his own reckless carelessness. Some of it was his fault. The reckless carelessness, the fact that he was aiming a gun in the direction of a person that he should have never been aiming a gun at. That's his fault. Now, how that bullet, because from what I've been reading, in more than one example is saying that a live round was put into this gun. The armorer should have checked it. But I've also read that after she did whatever she's supposed to do with the gun, it was handed off to someone else. It's never supposed to be handed off to someone else. It's supposed to be handed from me, the armorer, to you, Scott, the actor.
Yeah. And
you,
that's how
like
I've
you
actually
said, have a chance to look at the gun, inspect it, see what it is, make sure there's not an actual live round in it or whatever you want to do, or take all those out and say, we're going to make it look like I shot this in post, whatever the case may be. He never checked the gun, evidently. And I'll say, and I'm just going to say I'm 99% sure he never checked the gun, because had he taken those
checked the
bullets
gun,
out
it wouldn't
into his
have
hand, had he taken a fucking gun safety course, this would have never happened. And I don't want to hear anybody sit there and cry about how guns kill people. Yes, they do. That's their job. Or their job is to go shoot targets. Or their job is to just not be fired at somebody whenever you're not supposed to be firing at somebody.
One of the things, I grew up at a very early age. I can't tell you how young I was when I first learned about guns and shooting. Safety had been drilled in me from an early age. I check every gun. I treat every gun I have, even if it's a fake gun, as if it's real, it's loaded, and will kill. There is no room for any type of cutting corners. And here they did it on a set. And I hate that this woman died. Her crew left, but she stayed behind. Up and coming cinematographer, going to get great recognition. I know why she stayed. And she paid for it, unfortunately. And that's one of the things is I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of good crew members, a lot of camera crews and directors and stuff. That safety is paramount. And if you don't feel safe,
just on that little thing that we did, they seemed to be very safe. They were taking care to make sure you don't walk into, bramble or walk into poison ivy or walk into, it was little stuff. And I know it wasn't that big a deal,
No, but still,
but it was still very safe. Everybody was very safety conscious. Can you sit here? Can you do this? The most dangerous thing I did is whenever I climbed up that freaking tree for the one thing you and I just did.
Yeah.
And you were looking at me like, why are you doing that? I'm like, because it's going to be funny. I hope it's going to be funny. Was it safe? I climbed trees my whole freaking life, but that would have been on me. That wouldn't have been you as a director telling me climb up a freaking tree. And, no, that was on me because you were looking at me like, what are you, stupid? You're in your 50s. Why are you climbing a tree?
Well, the thing is, and going back, there's so many, even the union has got so many procedures put in place. I've seen comments and read posts from people I know and have worked with who are still in the industry and stuff. Right. And they're like, this would not happen on my set. You see, they talk about seeing people playing with the guns and stuff. It's like, no, you're fired, gone, goodbye. Yeah. There's other directors that came out and said there'll never be a real gun on my set ever again. Good. You can do it all with fake. There's no need to even
reason to. There's no reason to.
And I know people, say, oh, but it looks, look, Radio F, which is apparently released somewhere. Go figure.
Got released?
Yeah.
Great. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. Somewhere. I can't
you can
find
just get a link to it.
Yeah. But anyway, on that, we used a lot of fake guns. I think we had a starter pistol, might have been the most real gun on there. But the shotgun in all those scenes is plastic. Literally plastic. I could have snapped it in half. Airsoft guns. Things like that. Yeah, an airsoft gun could still really hurt you, but we still treated, nobody was playing around with the fake guns even. It's just, you can't, they were in a hurry, like it always is on a movie set, because time is money, and they're cutting corners. And when you've got crew quitting and you're overworking them and everything, it's like, this is the shit that happens.
They said they were working 12 to 15 hours a day, and then some of them would have to sleep in their cars because they couldn't drive the hour, back to the hotel or whatever.
Yeah, to turn around, they weren't having enough turnaround.
My biggest, my problem where I was first starting with the whole I dislike Alec Baldwin so immensely it's not even funny is he's an easy target, and everybody has forgotten that he killed a woman. Mm-hmm. That,
he didn't mean to.
Right there,
I know he didn't.
The only thing anybody should have said, and I know some people won't agree with this, is my prayers go out to this poor woman's family and her children. I am so sorry this happened. Safety should be our number one concern on movie sets from this point forward. That's all you had to say.
That's it.
That's all you had to say. You did not have to bring up Alec Baldwin's name. You don't have to say, oh, you're an idiot, Alec Baldwin. No, the worst thing anybody should have said was, Alec Baldwin, maybe you should have taken a goddamn gun safety course.
Amen.
And I guarantee, man, I would bet 2 paychecks in a row to say that man has never had a gun safety course in his life. His whole entire career has been him playing with guns and not knowing how dangerous they really are, and then being an anti-gun guy, not understanding a weapon.
Yeah. You
have to respect the weapon. Whether it's
made
knives,
to kill, and it will.
Whether it's axes, exactly. Oddly enough, even though I was injured by swords, I love bladed weapons. To this day, I love bladed weapons. I have an extensive collection of knives. I think I actually have a couple of throwing axes. It's stuff that I used to do a lot. I used to throw axes a lot. I used to just play in things, but I respect those weapons. I do not grab those weapons and start swinging. You just don't.
No. And it's imperative that anybody and anything you do in life, the minute you feel unsafe, don't be afraid to say something. Don't be afraid to walk. Don't be afraid to give them the middle finger. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to take care of you but you. And that's a sad thing to say, but this whole thing could have been prevented. We just go back a few years ago. This is not gun related, but this is set safety, where Sarah, and I'm sorry, I can't remember her last name. She was a crew member who was killed on a train track filming a movie, Midnight I forget what it was.
I know what you. I remember hearing something about somebody being killed.
The producers cut corners. They said the trains were not running and they had permission to be on the tracks. Guess what? The trains were running. They did not have permission, and somebody lost their life.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who's been on multiple film sets, both little and great big, there is, corners are getting cut. It's just,
it's
people
the
are
nature
afraid.
Of the beast.
Well, you have to trust somebody. So I know somebody's there. And as me being newer than most, I'm quick to believe, oh, yeah, so-and-so said it. But now I can't trust anything anybody says. And you should never believe a person when they say the gun's unloaded here.
Yeah.
Until you see it with your eyes. That's something I learned as a wee lad.
Yeah. I was around guns my whole life. I've been around guns my whole life. It's early on, like you said. I mean, I remember having the rifle put up. I was about 6, maybe 8. First time I shot a rifle, it was put up on my shoulder. I think it was my brother Richard was helping me aim the gun and pull the trigger. And we were out in the woods, and he was showing me how to use the gun. Gun safety was drilled into my head at an early age. I personally like guns. I think guns are great. Yeah. They keep a whole lot of dishonest people honest. Is what it boils right down to. If a good guy's got a gun, I'm not even going to hesitate to say I am pro-gun. I am absolutely pro. Defend your life, defend your family, and even if it never comes up to that, going out to a shooting range and shooting. But learn
absolutely
learn your weapon. Learn your weapons. I don't care whether it's a knife. I don't care if it's a throwing star. I don't care what you have as a weapon. Learn how to respect the weapon.
Yeah. And you
Respect
know what?
Was never there.
It also translates on screen. How many times have we watched movies with poor gun safety and gun etiquette? How many cops have we seen stare down the barrel of their own gun? Oh yeah, that gives you extra accuracy and street cred if you go sideways. I
would stand right in front of somebody trying to shoot me like that, and I'd never have to worry about getting shot.
So in Halloween Kills, there's this doctor. She's probably weighs 120 pounds. She picks up a 50 caliber Desert Eagle and one-hands
it. There is precedence.
People can, but this is somebody who obviously, she looked at it like she didn't know what was going on. This thing would have flown right into her fucking face.
Well, I was just thinking of Bonnie Darrow, Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh,
Darrow. She used to carry a BAR.
She was tiny.
She fired a BAR, and she was about 100 pounds at the most.
Yeah.
And her favorite weapon was a BAR.
But you're taking
a seasoned criminal. I don't even know if I could lift up a BAR, let alone lift one up and shoot it.
it just cracked me up in that.
I know. I'm just
It's like there's no way. I'm sorry. And
if you've never seen a gun before and you've never shot one before, chances are you're gonna have a lot of trouble trying to fire a gun whenever you first pick it up.
And that Desert Eagle is not tiny. That's a big bitch.
4 pounds, aren't they?
Yeah, they're 4 or 5 pounds. I mean, they're fucking huge. I don't know. I've only held one. I've never shot one. I've never shot a gun one-handed. I would never train to shoot one-handed. You're more accurate. I'm not saying you can't, but what's that?
9 millimeters. For me, I've shot a Beretta one-handed.
Yeah.
I'm much
I never
more
tried because when I shot, I was in the military. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So as a military, we were never trained to shoot one-handed, going for accuracy. So I never have. But if I did, I would turn it sideways and I would.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
And then make sure it's empty by. Like you said, how many bad movies have we seen where the cop's scratching his head or the gang members sitting there like, let me think about this. It's like, oh my God. And they got their finger on the trigger.
That is somebody who's never held a gun in their life.
Exactly. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Well, I hate that everybody was calling it a prop. It's like, it's a prop gun. No, it's not.
A prop gun wouldn't have killed you.
A prop gun would be plastic. A prop gun would not kill you. This was a real gun. This was an old gun, and it was a real gun.
Yeah.
And when everybody left off for safety, and I understand why she didn't leave, but I also understand this was a big loss for a family.
Yeah.
And it's horrible.
That's why I say Absolutely. Always safety first on that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
And with that, do we want to go into the fog now that we brought
And now
everybody
it's for
down
the
to
fog. Now that we've talked about gun safety.
gun safety, folks? And
Gun
I don't
safety.
think anybody used a gun in the fog, did they? I don't remember anybody using.
I
a
don't
gun.
remember. Can you shoot a ghost with a gun?
You might try. Story. You might not be able to do any damage, but you're going to damn sure try.
Quick story. You know where we live. We know. You know how hickish it is here in Lower Alabama.
L.A. We're down in L.A., boy.
20 plus years ago, I had my old historic home rewired, and we were convinced it was haunted. Right. And the electricians that were doing it, I remember this guy's name, Mike. Mike was convinced it was haunted because Mike told us, "I'm going to go get my shotgun. I'm going to get that ghost." I'm like, "You're going to shoot up my house, fool."
What are you going to shoot?
I don't know. But he was going to go get his shotgun because he was scared to be in the house alone.
Only if you put blessed ammo in it might it work. And you're still going to shoot up my home.
There you go. But just to wrap that up, you know, I don't know where I was going with it, but we will talk about the fog now. So
go.
Y'all enjoy.
Peace.
Hey, welcome to our welcome to our review of John Carpenter's The Fog. And we can't have Halloween month without John Carpenter. I mean, John Carpenter, Halloween, The Fog. What year was The Fog? Do you remember? 79?
78, 79? 78 or 79, around there sometime. It's a good movie. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Real quick, before we forget, folks, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button. You can share our podcast. You can share our YouTube videos. Write a review if you have a comment down below. I watch most of my YouTube with the Roku, so I can't make like comments, but I can go on my phone or I can go on a computer and make a comment if I feel like it. So folks, make a comment. Say, yes, you guys are wonderful. You're the best thing since sliced bread.
Please
say
it just like that.
just like that.
Just like that.
And use that euphemism about sliced bread because, you know, I like bread.
So what'd you think of The Fog?
I liked it. It's pretty cool. And Jamie Lee Curtis looks so young.
Because she is.
Yeah, I know. And Janet Leigh, it's funny because Janet Leigh's in the movie. I didn't know she was in the movie. Janet Leigh,
I didn't either.
For anybody who doesn't know, is Jamie Lee Curtis's mom with Tony Curtis.
Yes.
Also, she gets her last name.
She was in Psycho.
Yeah, she was in Psycho. And she was also in what else? What else?
Oh, my God. Night of the Lepus.
Night of the Lepus.
Yeah. We don't talk about Night of the Lepus. The Fog and Psycho are much better Janet Leigh movies.
Bunnies. With gnashing teeth. And she
there are no rabbit suits in the
there's no rabbit suits in this one.
No, yeah.
Special effects were a lot freaking better in this movie.
Yes, they were. I didn't realize that she was in it till I was watching the credits. It's been a long time since I've seen this. Right. And I love John Carpenter and I love his movies. This is not my favorite by any means. It's a solid movie, but I have some issues with it. And we'll get into it. It's I didn't realize that he had written this with his wife, and he had obviously done so much with her. And I feel like, wow, how did I miss all of this? That Deborah Hill was his wife, and they did a lot of team work on a ton of his movies. So it's this is one written by them. It is a good ghost story. Here, I'm just going to get my chief complaint out of the way. I think there was more telling than showing in this movie.
Yeah. Was the remake like that? You said you'd watch the remake.
I don't remember. So that doesn't sound good if I can't remember the remake.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, here the movie starts off and pretty much sets up the whole thing with a ghost story around a campfire. Mm-hmm. But you know, through a series here, let's just back it up and give the synopsis of this. There's an old, I forget what year it happened, but hundreds of years ago or 100 years ago.
I think 1879 or 1878.
1880.
1880.
Yeah, because this was in 1980. and it took place
Okay,
100
so it
years
was
after
1980.
I remember that. Everything was 1980. There's a lot of great sets in this, by the way, a lot
Oh
of great
yeah,
props. It looks really
yeah.
cool. But there was a leper who had a lot of money, and he had, I think, 5 other people with him
Mhm.
who had leprosy, and they had a small colony, and they wanted a place to settle. So he came to the town elders, I guess the priest
Yeah.
of the town, and offered him all this money if he could come settle there.
Uh-huh.
And well, the townspeople, being afraid of lepers nearby, set up a way to kill them. Now, here's the thing. I must have missed it, but I never heard exactly how they killed them, unless it had to do with the ghost story at the beginning at the fire.
It did. It had something to do with the candles, like the town folks. Instead of the lighthouse, they stood near rocks or
Hmm.
away from the rock. They basically lured them to the rock
Into the rocks
to
to their
crash the
death.
ship,
Yeah.
so they could go get all the gold off the ship.
Yeah.
And they killed everybody on board, like the 5 or 6 guys that were on board. Just a
Yeah.
bunch of scumbag townspeople.
It really, really was, and a really shitty thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
So
no.
the town was built on blood money, basically,
Yeah,
and 100 years later, the ship returns, the ghost ship on the fog, and with the
yeah.
crew seeking vengeance.
Good
And they get
return
it.
too. Yeah, good return too.
Yes.
I like how when they're talking about the fog rolling in, that the fog is
Mhm.
going against the winds and the tide.
Yes. Yes.
And
Also, Adrian Barbeau is in this.
Adrian, that voice.
Let me ask something about that. I thought it was really odd. We're 1980, okay?
Right.
Yeah, I know AM radio was still big in 80, but every place had a 1950s radio on. I mean, these were 1950s radio boxes playing old music. Stevie Wayne, Adrian Barbeau, that's what she played, was this
Right.
old music. I just thought that was odd, and maybe it was a licensing choice, but it was one of the things that struck me as odd.
I think they said that her character, like that was the only reception they had, was because she was in the lighthouse. But
Right.
that was weird because the lighthouse went downhill.
Yeah.
It wasn't like up on top of Mountain Cliff or anything. It was like
But
you had to go
AM,
down.
AM will really travel, and especially at night, it'll go almost around the world. So
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I think they said that she bought the radio station. She owned it, and she was basically the only one within hearing distance. So the local ships, as the ships passed by, they'd be listening to her radio station as she drove by.
But she was playing old
by.
music, and I always thought that was odd. It's like, what are you playing? You know, there's a lot of stuff at that time but I think it might have come down to licensing issues.
Classic oldies station. I mean, it's AM.
Yeah.
You know, that was always, that was
It
just
was a
my
little pet
thought
peeve.
whenever I thought about it. The introduction of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
She's hitchhiking. And the
Never
best
done it
thing
before.
is, I never did that before. Jamie Lee gets picked up, and the guy is drinking a beer, and he hands her a beer.
Yeah.
And I just started laughing. I'm like, you would never see that in a movie today.
No.
You would absolutely never see that in a movie today.
And it's Tom Atkins, who has appeared in so many Carpenter flicks and so many 80s movies.
and you know, the thing is, he looks like he's a really heavy guy.
Yeah.
Like, to look at him, you think he's really heavy. And then they show the two of them in bed, and he's getting out of bed. He's got a shirt and stuff on, but you know they were fooling around that night.
Oh, yeah.
He gets out of bed, and he's slim.
Mm-hmm.
He's just got a big head.
Yeah, he's got a big head.
He's just got a big round,
round
noodle.
Yeah. It is cast well.
Yeah,
damn
it was very well.
Who was the priest? I'm drawing a blank on the name.
I think I wrote it down. I didn't.
Another pretty famous actor. Yeah.
I did not write it down, I don't think.
God damn it.
Now you got me wondering. I want to say Hallen.
Oh, man, it's on the tip of my tongue.
James Hallen or something like that?
No, it's there. It's there. But anyway, there's a lot of faces. You watch this movie, you'll recognize pretty much everybody. It's really interesting that I like the ghosts that come in, and
Yeah.
they're polite ghosts. They knock at the door.
Yeah, none of them just walked in. None of them, I mean, they always came through the front door or an open window that you opened.
Mm-hmm. But I think at the end, when they attacked the church, they did just come full in, because the priest was a descendant of his grandfather was the one who planned the whole thing, because the priest finds a diary that explains it.
Here was one problem that I had with this, and I think if I were to do a remake of it, now it's too late because somebody already did it.
Yeah.
I would have thought that the ghosts would have been hunting down specifically people that were descended from the people who killed them. If not, you just scare the hell out of them. You might injure them, but they don't die. You know what I mean? Just dropped my phone. Hold on.
I thought about that too.
And that bothered me a little bit, because at that point, then you're just killing people, and you're no better than the people who killed you.
It was kind of weird. It was kind of weird, because I get them coming after the priest. I really do, because he's a descendant. And I thought that's what they were going to do. But it seemed like they were increasing their numbers. They were almost like recruiting. They'd kill somebody, and their numbers would grow.
Oh, I didn't notice that. No, now I'm going to have to go back and look at that.
So that if I looked at that right, it looked like they were just growing their numbers. I love the idea of a ghost ship. I wish we could have seen more with it. Logistically, I get why not, but that was really cool at the beginning when that one ship's out there. They're all drunk, and through the fog, you see this old ship come. Yeah, the fishing boat, and you see this old schooner coming through with the tattered sails, and it's like, that is really cool.
And those guys looked at that and they were like, oh, shit. The two guys out on deck were like, oh, shit. Yeah. They knew there was trouble. They didn't know what. They didn't know how. They didn't know why. But those two guys on that deck, when that ship came really close to their ship right by, and you couldn't hear the water moving, you couldn't hear the sails, and they were just looking at each other like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
They knew something was up. They didn't know what, but they knew something was up.
Yeah, it's definitely it's got some really cool moments. My issues were that we didn't find out about how we found out about what exactly happened is when the priest found the diary, and he's basically reading it. I would have loved to have seen a flashback and see a reenactment of it.
That would have been showing. That would have been showing what happened. You know, first sentence, blah, 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 and then
just fade into it. And do it that late in the movie so people don't know. But it seemed like it just seemed like it came too early, and it was just told, and it's like, okay, I get it. I understand logistically why it was done. The movie did go, to me, a bit long. It could have been tightened up, but if it would have had that scene in there, I think it would have been much better. It's still enjoyable. It's I love the old 70s, 80s horror films. It's not scary.
I just like the thought of that fog just rolling in.
And it was glowing.
And she's on the radio, because where she's at, she can see the town and she can see the fog. And she's telling people, don't stay out of the fog. There's something in the fog. Stay out of She doesn't even know for sure what's in the fog yet, I don't think. But she knows there's something. Yeah. And she's like, stay out of the fog. And she's telling people what roads to drive down and head for the old church. And that was pretty cool. And Jamie Lee Curtis didn't show a breast. No, I have to hand it to James Cameron for not showing breasts in his movies. I don't think he's ever shown any breasts. John Carpenter. Sorry.
James Cameron is another great filmmaker.
James Cameron did Titanic. I'm sorry.
And Aliens.
And Aliens, yeah. There are no boobs in Aliens either, so that's good.
No, that's just it. I don't think Carpenter's really ever, if he has, it's been brief. It's not ever really been a focus.
Right. And I don't ever remember seeing any. Like, I don't ever remember him doing a gratuitous shot.
Not anything that we've watched.
Shot.
Yeah.
No. But
it's not necessary.
And Adrienne Barbeau played a good character.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there would have been a little bit. I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen this movie yet.
You might as well. What we do here on Old Ass Movie Reviews is we ruin every goddamn movie.
We do.
So if you haven't seen The Fog, you should have turned off by now.
Yeah. Then come back at this point, because I'm going to ruin it from now. I just wish they would have had a better closure for her and her son.
Yeah.
Because all the power's out. The only thing she's got is the radio that she's telling everybody to go to. They should have showed the guy and Jamie Lee pulling up with the kid, at the radio station and having that reunited moment. Because up until then, up at the end of the movie, she still doesn't know whether her kid's alive.
No, that poor woman was on top of the lighthouse,
Yeah.
about to be slaughtered.
Yeah. She was going down.
Yeah. And it was close.
Yeah.
It was close.
Yeah, it was just the fact that she's on that roof. And there was a scene early on in the movie where the guy that's with Jamie Lee, the fisher, he's not a fisherman anymore, but he used to fish.
Yeah.
The guy who picks her up, he's knocking on the door. Again, they're very polite ghosts. They're very polite psychotic
I know, it's
ghosts.
so odd.
And he's going to the door, and he's like, he can see the fog, and he can see like a misty shadow on his door, and he's like, oh, what's this? I don't know whether he grabs a gun or not. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But he's going to the door, and he reaches the door, and the chime strikes 1 o'clock. The witching hour is over. It strikes 1 o'clock. He opens up the door, and the fog's already pulled away from his house and is headed back to the ocean. And the guy that was going to come through that door and kill him, not there.
Yeah.
And
I thought that was
like,
cool. They had
that's
that 1
pretty
hour
cool.
window that they would
I
come
thought
into.
they were going to do that with Adrienne Barbeau's character.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be like, they were just going to get ready to just really hook her. And then the fog was just going to have them dissipate, back down the building. And that would have been I think that would have been an even better ending because it's 1 o'clock and you don't know whether they're going to come back tomorrow night.
Now, the town mayor, that was Janet Leigh, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
She reminded me of the mayor of Amity, from,
Amityville.
No, from Jaws.
Oh my God. Yeah. Now we're going to keep going.
She knew everything that went down. She knew stuff was going on, even after finding out her husband was dead. Nope, we're doing this festival.
We have to go on.
Yeah.
Sure?
There's always people like that.
Those are dangerous people that you don't want to follow.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
We're good. We're fine.
It's just ghosts.
Get out of the water. Get out of the water. There's a fog, a shark, and ghosts.
There's ghost shark.
The foggy ghost sharks are coming for you.
Exactly. It had that vibe to me right then and there.
You know what? You're right. That's exactly the kind of mayor she was.
Yep. It was the show's going on. And it was, they were doing this big tribute to how the town started 100 years ago and everything, but it was on the death of all these people. And nobody really knew that except a select few.
Well, I think the priest found out.
Yeah.
He was trying to explain to them what was going on. And by that point, I mean, I can see it to one extent. Like you've already got everything bought and paid for. You're going on. But the fact that her husband was found dead or not found at all and the boat was empty, it's like, don't you think you should maybe at least you not be there? I mean, somebody will understand. Everybody's going to get it, if you don't show up tonight.
Yeah. The priest was Hal Holbrook.
Hal Holden. That's it. Holbrook. Hal Holbrook.
Yeah, I was right there.
Yeah. I knew there was an H in there. I just didn't remember where or
Two H's.
Hal. Yeah, he played a good character. And now my dogs are barking.
Yeah.
I am terribly sorry in advance for all the editing you're going to have to do because of my dumb dogs.
It's all good. It's all good. So just to reiterate, my final thoughts on the fog.
Final? I still have notes.
Let's get your notes. Let's go through Dave's notes. I'm sorry.
On. I got shit to talk about.
Let's
I'm
hear
not done talking yet.
Let's hear it.
You're the only guy I talk to, man.
Let's
and
go.
It's only once a week.
Yeah. Sorry, the fog was rolling in and I had to get off of here.
Foggy ghost sharks. The fog frigate was really cool. We talked about that.
Yes.
I never knew this, but Adrienne Barbeau was at one time married to John Carpenter.
I did not know that either.
Mm-hmm. Thought that was a little piece of information. I never heard that.
So after this, they must not have been, or it was before, or I don't know because
I don't know. I didn't look for a date.
Yeah.
It just said that she had been previously married to him. So either that or he just stays friends with people he divorces.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Because she was in Escape from New York,
yeah,
and this is the only two that I can think of from him that she's in. I would
hmm,
have to double check.
yeah, that's interesting. Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis and the guy that picked her up are in bed together, like
Real quick.
immediately that night.
Yeah.
1 o'clock. Oh, that's I already talked about this straight up. 1 o'clock straight up. The guy is saved and the fog is gone, and he
Yeah.
had sex with Jamie Lee Curtis. What a lucky son of a bitch!
I bet he picks up more hitchhikers in the future.
I didn't know this. I thought this movie took place on the East Coast. I thought it took place in Maine. It takes place.
I did too, but it's not. It is Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
it's Northern California.
Northern California. I always thought it was in Maine, like Northern Maine.
Yeah.
Which would have, to me, made much more sense. But what do I know? Probably cheaper to film out in California at that time.
Maybe so. Yeah, that's it. The location was really good. It was a beautiful area, and it really set the stage for what was going on. But it just did have a New England vibe.
Right.
And I guess that's because anytime I think of movies dealing with fishermen and ships, I'm thinking New England
and lighthouses.
Yeah.
There is a scene in the movie where Jamie Lee Curtis is standing in the mortuary for whatever fucking reason. She goes to the mortuary with the guy.
Gets attacked.
But it was funny because I had to think about my note. I wrote down Jamie Lee Curtis movie. Of course, the body moves, and I'm like, what the hell does that mean? The body, of course, because she's in the movie, the dead body is going to start moving and attack her. And that's exactly what it does. I'm like, you can't leave Jamie Lee Curtis in a room with a dead body.
No, it's going to happen.
It's going to get up and try and kill somebody.
That one was telegraphed so strong. You saw it coming a mile away. It's like, oh, God.
I just thought that was so funny. And I think I said something like that to my wife when we were watching. I was like, you can't leave her in a room with a dead body. I got to reiterate that fog effect. It's very simple, very well done, and that you can just see it rolling down the streets, rolling into the town, rolling in between the trees and everything. It's a neat effect. And then whenever it starts to recede, probably just ran the film backwards, but it was still a really cool effect. It didn't look like it was run backwards, but it had to have been. Yeah. Unless they pushed cold air into it and forced it back. I don't know.
I doubt that.
But yeah,
it's probably just ran it backwards.
Probably just ran it backwards. I don't know what this note means.
Oh, great. Well, I sure as hell don't.
But I'm gonna read it to you. Maybe you can place it. Fuck. Why do I keep finding dead people on my day off? There had to be somebody that kept finding dead people on their day. The sheriff. I think the sheriff kept finding dead people or getting called to dead people. Somebody had a day off in this movie, and they kept finding dead people.
Yeah, how do you?
I think it might have been the fisherman. I wish I would have wrote down a better note.
Oh man, no, I don't recall.
Oh, here's something, and this will make anybody out there that sees this movie maybe think about it. Adrienne Barbeau is the Orson Welles character from War of the Worlds, the news reporter. Yes. She is the news reporter. If you've ever listened to the radio program War of the Worlds, there's a radio program director or radio guy who's at the crash site of the Martians, and he's on the radio and he's talking about the smoke coming out of the pit and how it's affecting everybody and where it's going. And he's telling you where the fog is going. It's rolling across Hudson Bay or the Hudson River going into New York, and it's going down Broadway, and it's going up to here and here. And he's watching all this and he can see it. And then I'm listening to that, and that's her character. Her character is that character. And she's stuck. She can't get out. He was stuck. He couldn't get out. I just thought it was a nice little
thing. You go. I guarantee that is probably exactly where the influence came from.
Do you know if Janet Leigh and Jamie Lee Curtis were ever in another movie together?
I do not know. I don't know.
This is the
That's
only movie
something to
that I
look
can
up.
think of. Yeah, that was a note that I wrote down to myself.
I thought that was really cool when I saw the cast credits coming up at the
Yeah,
beginning. It's like, oh, what? Wait,
yeah, right.
Janet Leigh.
And I really liked one last thing about the fog that I really liked. Not just the fog itself, but the lighting effects that they were doing in the fog and through the
Hmm.
fog.
Yeah, because she was saying that it's glowing,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
glowing.
And then you'd have somebody standing in the fog and you'd have this light effect around them. And usually I can tell what they kind of did or where the light was aimed. But some of these lighting effects I could not figure out because it wasn't animation.
No,
It was actual in-camera shot. And I'm just trying to figure out where the lights were. Were they down on the ground? Or
I
some of them
don't
looked
know,
like they
but
might have been up in the air, but it was the way they were shining on those ghosts that were coming out of the fog. Because there's a few shots that these guys just kind of appear. I mean, whoever's in the fog is coming out of the fog, but it mostly looks like the fog is becoming them. And I don't know if that was just one of those happy accidents that some guy, when they did it, was like, "Oh, that's perfect. We weren't even trying for that. That's
it could
great."
have been.
Or if it was one of those deals where Cameron just looked at these guys and was like,
Carpenter.
Damn it. Carpenter looked at these guys and was like, "Hey, we need to." I don't know why I keep saying Cameron.
You could say worse.
Yeah, this is true. Avatar.
I like Avatar. I don't care what you say. I liked Avatar, even though I liked it better when it was called Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
Same. Am I wrong?
No.
Okay.
It's like when Disney reuses animation from one cartoon to another.
Yeah.
You'll just use the Dances with Wolves movie. Come on. Throw some CGI in it. We're good.
Yeah. We don't need a script. Here it is.
Yeah,
Make a few changes.
Just change the names and put them in trees.
And put blue people instead of Indians.
Yeah, we'll change the Indians to blue people. No fucking part.
Great.
And I've just ruined the movie without even trying for you. But I like the lighting effects. I like what he's done in movies.
Mm.
You and I've talked about it before. There's always a bit of a lesson to be learned in one of his movies, or a hey, don't try this at home kind of lesson. And in this one, it's a don't kill somebody for a bunch of money and then expect them not to come back and haunt your family 100 years from now.
Greed.
Yeah,
greed will kill you.
But at least the priest was trying to give it up. The priest actually, or preacher, whatever he was like saying, "How okay, I gotta make this right. And there's only one way to do it." And he literally sacrificed himself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was a good lesson, and it's one of the things I really like about John Carpenter films, and it's still something I can't quite put my finger on, but you can put me in a room, and if I've never seen the movie and John Carpenter made it, I'm going to tell you John Carpenter made it because he has a signature. Yeah. There is something, and it's not just his music, because his music is in everywhere, and I love his soundtracks. Right. But there's just something with the style, something with the storytelling. It's different. It's unconventional sometimes, and it's just it's loose. It's good. It's fun. It's more real. It's not. I won't say it doesn't take things seriously, because of course he's serious when he's making these movies, but they're just. I love John Carpenter. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, he does Everyman very well. Like Adrienne Barbeau, to me, was the main character in this movie. She was the everyman. She was the person that was watching what was going on and was defenseless. Was just couldn't do anything about it. She fought off those guys pretty well in her own right. But what I mean is, and here again, folks, everybody who complains there's no strong women in Hollywood or in movies, watch one of his films.
He always has
strong women. Adrienne Barbeau's character was a strong woman. Anybody would have wound up reacting the way she winds up reacting. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, I think I'd have freaked out a long time before she did. I'd have been like, I got to get out of here. I got to go. I'm running into the fog. No, well, maybe not Into the Fog, but I would have probably done something stupid like that.
No, see, John Carpenter has always done that, and I love that. And we can take it right to Halloween. Jamie Lee
Yeah,
Curtis surviving Michael Myers.
right,
The babysitter, the fucking babysitter does it. So don't tell me that there's
right.
there's not strong women out there.
Which brings us to the new Halloween movie. I
Hmm.
don't remember the name of it.
Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills. It looks, and I've only seen the preview, the trailer.
Hmm.
It looks like all the people from the original movie that didn't get killed are out now hunting Mike Myers. They've
Yeah.
turned the tables on the
Yes.
hunter. And she says, I want to get his mask off. I want to see his face.
Yeah.
So I wonder, is it going to be the original guy who played Mike
I,
Myers in the first
I
movie?
don't.
'Cause
I
think
doubt
he's
it.
still alive.
Did you see? Did you see the last Halloween movie?
No, the Halloween H2O?
No.
that what that
There's
one was?
there's one before this. This is a sequel. What happened about 2 years ago? They did Halloween. They just called it Halloween,
Right.
and it picks up right after the first Halloween movie from the 70s.
Uh-huh.
So they took Halloween 2 and all the others, completely retconned them, and
Right.
here's a new one with Jamie Lee Curtis. And looking at the trailer, this movie Halloween Kills picks up right at the exact moment that the other movie ends.
Oh, no shit.
I highly recommend watching it. It was really good. Jamie
No,
Lee
I'm going
Curtis
to
is
have to
back.
rewatch.
She is living in a cabin that she's built up as a fortress, and she's waiting because she knows one day Michael Myers is
She's
coming,
going to come back for her.
and she's ready. And nobody believes her, but she's ready, and
Right.
that's where this series is going. It's produced by John Carpenter, so it's
There you go.
all really. I really loved the last Halloween.
Right.
I like H2O2, and I like some of the others. They just
See, I thought the name of that one was H2O. I remember a movie coming out. I just didn't remember which one she came back in.
that was it.
So-
But then all of those have been erased, and we had Halloween, where it picked up as Halloween 2.
Okay.
So it's
That's cool. Now it makes me want to definitely see this movie. I just want to
Well-
see the victims turn the tide, turn the
Yeah.
table. And who
Yeah,
knows, that might get him killed.
unfortunately, this may not air in time, but the new one is going to be on the Peacock streaming service
Oh, yeah.
for just the price of a subscription. So
Oh,
there's your
cool.
$9 rental for the new Halloween movie. So they may have the other one on too. So you could probably watch a twofer
Very cool.
for $10.
Super.
So final thoughts on John Carpenter's The Fog.
You know what? You say this isn't one of your favorite John Carpenters.
Mm-hmm.
I have to put this up there with Escape from New York. What was the other one we were talking? Oh, they live. And now I'm going to put The Fog up in there and that higher tier, just because I like ghost stories. And this
Yeah.
isn't a super spooky ghost story. This
No.
isn't one of those, I can't watch that because everybody's eyes are popping out and blood and blah, I can't do this. It wasn't that bad. I mean, there were a couple little gory moments here and there, but this was more of a good ghost story.
Mhm.
The old, the hook scraping across
It was good.
the roof and things like that. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing nowadays is just
It is.
give a good story, kind of fun. And oh yeah, I know they had 6 people got killed in the ghost story, but it's still a good story. It's an old school. I would call it an old school ghost story.
I would too.
You know?
And that's the only thing when I say it's not my favorite, it is because it tells more than it shows.
Yeah, I give you
and
that.
That's a little thing. I love a John Carpenter film. I don't think I've seen one that I won't watch over and over.
All the ones we've seen and talked about hither, tither, and yon. Yeah,
we have
I
more
like
to go.
Yeah, we got lots to go. Still got to do Precinct
13, Assault on Precinct 13. And,
was that his first? Was that his
no,
first
I don't
movie?
think so. I'm not sure.
We have to find out what his very first movie was and watch it.
And also, we need to watch Prince of Darkness.
You were talking about that, yeah.
Yeah. Because Egg Shin's in that. I'm sure not as Egg Shin.
It'd be funny if he was.
Yeah, I know, right? So that'll do it for today's review, folks. I hope you enjoy John Carpenter movies as much as we do, and I hope you had a great Halloween month of spooky ghost and fog and stuff. So until next time, Later.
Later.